All right, here we are. It's Young Rock and the Manning brothers here, taking it to you at halftime. My God, are we going to get a good game? 21-0.
No.
Is that what we're not going to? 21-0. We're here to take you through second half. We're going to pick some wagers, make some money at least, something salvages. I need to apologize to you, Shaq. I thought for sure the Steelers would be the most embarrassing part of this Super Wild Card weekend. Oh, boy. You have 4
Not
or 5
close.
others to choose from. I don't know. We talk about the
Yeah.
Shakey's game, the worst game. It really could have been a choice of any
You
the
think-
sport that have.
I know that's why you have egg on your face. Your quarterback.
It's a zit. It's not an egg. It's like a little zit. But I know what you're saying.
Yeah. Well, listen. I mean, there was nothing sadder than your superstar quarterback getting sacked by a referee to end the game. That was pretty grim. But to answer your question quickly, are we going to see a good game? Yeah, we're just 5 days away from one. In fact, we got a couple of very juicy ones, at least on the AFC side, and I think at least one, maybe even two, on the NFC side.
Oh, well,
Things are looking up, right?
I was thinking that Sunday is going to be spectacular. If it's this all of a sudden revitalized Rams team at Tampa Bay, followed by what really should have been the AFC Championship, I think. If they could, I know reseeding wouldn't do anything now. They do reseed. But if they could look at it like we would the SEC, all right, come on. The Bills and the Chiefs are the best teams. Let Tennessee and Cincinnati play one of those. Martin, what were your thoughts on the weekend?
I mean, my thoughts, the most exciting game was this actual human error from Mike McCarthy, which was one of the most predictable things that could have happened all year. That was one thing that we were sure of. I like the way the Bengals looked I was worried about that. The Patriots completely let me down. But I think you're right, Sal, in that the most embarrassing output that we have seen so far has been the first 30 minutes of this game right here on Monday night.
Yeah.
The Cardinals thanks for coming.
Just not. It is very weird how some teams own the others. Like McVay was 9-1 against this Cardinals team coming in. Now for sure going to be 10-1, and they were only a three-point favorite on FanDuel when they kicked off. 48.5 was the over/under. We'll get to the second. Well, I'll give you the second half line. So the Cardinals are actually a half-point favorite.
Cover that because then we have to cover the human emotion of one Sal. I know you talked about it with the Against All Odds boys already today, but we have to dig in. But first, handle business. Let's make people some money here, and then we can delve into.
Right. Well, let me tweet this first because I hate the human part of it. I mean, you got scot-free, Shaq. You didn't have a care in the world. You did. I would say you did a little bit think you could win when you were up 7-0. A tiny bit you thought you could pull that out.
Oh yeah,
dead Chiefs offense.
Well, exactly like the three of us talked about. When was that? Friday. The scenario I laid out played out exactly I said. I said instead of it being a 4-touchdown game, what if they get the mid-second quarter and it's like a 3-point game or whatever? And instead it was a tie game at that point, and maybe the Steelers are still in the lead. And to Mahomes' credit, he hit the gas, man, and they just blew him out. So, Yeah, I mean, but like you say, devil may care attitude on my end about that. I think you got to be sick. I don't know who the most disgusted team is, fan base or otherwise. I mean, I think the Cowboys have to be up there. I agree with Jer, what he said. It was harsh but true.
Should be better. Yeah.
Well, yeah, with this collection of players, you're supposed to win games. You're supposed to win playoff games. It really is. I mean, they obviously had an awful draw for a high seed. That was a rugged foe, and a lot of people identified that, but still.
And saying that team, the 49ers, again, week 18, they're punting from their own end zone with their place kicker with 1:48 left, down 7 to this Rams team, which now seems impossible when you see this offense clicking the way it does. Well, let's give a pick real quick before we get into the emotions. Martin, you've been taking, I don't know, I don't see a lot out of Arizona. Maybe there could be some garbage time touchdowns. Odell Beckham's a superstar all of a sudden. They don't have his numbers.
It's not all of a sudden. He just left Cleveland and Baker Mayfield. Now he's a quarterback that give him the ball. And,
it took him a minute. It did take him a couple of weeks, but Marty deserves credit because he said with great confidence that Odell was going to thrive in LA. And it wasn't just when the trade happened. 3 weeks after, I was like, this ain't working out, Marty. And he said, no, you'll see. And so here we are.
I mean, it's just Sean McVay finds his toys and knows the way to work. The play I like for this game, Cam Akers, anytime touchdown in the second half. McVay, he's like that. He likes to scheme up. He likes to scheme it up for the right guy, right? He's like, he's going to make sure Cooper Kupp gets his triple crown. He's going to make sure Odell gets his touchdowns. Cam Akers is playing after 6 months after blowing an Achilles. They're going to get him in the end zone, feel good about going in the next week.
All right. Yeah, I was all over Sony Michel for an anytime touchdown. That hit at plus 110 earlier. But you're right. Akers did get the first. Did he get the first two or first carry when they were inside the red zone there? They are splitting the load there. All right, check. I think I'm going to go Murray to score a touchdown at plus 330. I think he finally uses his legs. It's interesting. I was looking. There are really no running quarterbacks left in the playoffs unless you count Josh Allen, right? After Arizona's eliminated.
It is the ongoing truth. It's the ongoing truth because it's so exciting and it catches your attention and you want one of those guys to be your quarterback. But every January, until proven otherwise, it's pretty clear that is not an essential thing to have. Is a run first QB or a QB who you design runs for. That Josh Allen is the exception there. I mean you want to be slippery, but.
I mean, Mahomes, off the top of my head, has at least 30 rushing yards per playoff game. I know he had 50 in Tennessee, and he had 25 last night. But the idea that I think you definitely need a guy that can get around and move around.
Well, here's what you need. As far as passing goes, sometimes it's the simple stuff. Sometimes you need your quarterback to just pass it 4 inches to the referee so he or she could spot the ball 2 yards behind everybody. I mean,
of course now.
I'm not gonna, but check. You went after the referees for that game more than I did. Like that, they were like 7th or 8th on my list of complaints about that game. I hated everything.
Yes.
And you want to just go by that last play? It's like they're gonna give you as much daylight as you want as long as you're in the field to play. They'll give you to the 2-yard line because guess what? When you put the ball down, you're gonna turn around and see a bunch of fat guys like Mike McCarthy trying to race to the line of scrimmage, and then 65-year-old refs right alongside them. Like. Of course they were going to give you that. If you want to run for 7 yards and then spike it, fine. But the play would have been 2 to the end zone with 14 seconds left. Might as well.
I hear you, but I have business to tend to. First of all, I'm going to go back. I like Cam Akers maybe to get in the end zone. I like the Cardinals to win the second half by a slim margin. And I like James Conner to get in the end zone, but I like Kyler Murray running one in himself. No, it was the spectacle, the side-by-side spectacle of Dak getting hit from behind by the referee is just such a funny visual.
Yeah, that's what's funny. Yeah,
right. It
came down to physicality after all the ref bashing was the cherry on top.
The literal like do these referees insert themselves into the game unnecessarily? And the guy's literally inserting himself through the line.
Yeah.
The idea, this is what happens. Like the game ends on that. I don't think I'm in the minority. I don't think that was a terrible play call. As a matter of fact, what was the option? Throw a Hail Mary.
Yeah, they 2 shots 40? At the end zone with 14 seconds. It's still a very low percentage from the 25. It's still a low percentage from one play from the 25. I'd rather have 2 from the 40.
But it's not it's not a jump ball though. You can actually try to throw a strike to one side or the other. There's a check. That was horrible. But the whistle and where this leaves us now going forward, that you can blow the whistle and it's like, yeah, we don't have to pay attention to it. And by the way, I 100% support ignoring that whistle in that spot. But those are 2 pretty good examples.
But here's the thing, Martin. And by the way, did anyone ask the Raiders defender if he stopped because of the whistle? It seems a good way to. They did seem to stop, but they might have just been lost. It might have been that they thought Burrow stepped out of bounds more than anything is why they stopped, because they didn't put their hands up to defend it or anything. It might have been less about the whistle, but they lied about the whistle the next day. They said, no, the whistle came after the play. That's what the ref said. Like, that's just a complete lie.
That lie was incredible. Like, just the idea that they would just, like, everybody doesn't have HDTVs.
Right.
Like, everybody just read it, saw it was a lie, and just like, all right, I guess they're just going to lie about this.
Yeah.
But the thing about the Cowboys, I don't hate the draw either. Because if you do execute the spike, but the idea that the ref is not going to come and touch the ball or come set the ball is that's like playing basketball and not thinking you have to take the ball out of bounds after somebody scored.
Yourself,
It's fundamentally part of what the rules are. But I think when you just look at that one play, you ignore They had no timeouts. They had like all these other things that we talked about Mike McCarthy in week 3 versus the Chargers, saying, look, he doesn't know what he's doing in late game and late half situations.
Yeah.
Go figure. A late game situation came and burned the Cowboys. And if you heard of their post game, all they said was, this is how we've always executed it in practice. We've all go, why are you handing the center the ball? Because I've watched enough primetime football game to know Chase Claypool that you don't celebrate. You hand the ball to the referee. That's what you do. You just hand the ball to the ref after the play.
I jokingly said when it was 23-7, I'm like, oh, come on, make this close so I can blame McCarthy for time management. And guess what? Just right there for me. Perfect. All right.
You think he's going to keep it, right? He's going to keep
keep the job?
Yeah.
Well, Stephen Jones already kind of came out.
I saw he did, but that doesn't mean anything.
It does with them, though. It kind of does with the Cowboys. I know it does, less and less means something, but they'll hold on to him because they're not ready to move on.
They should, who's nearby is Lincoln Riley. Well, I mean, he moved a little bit, but maybe they could bring him back. The other thing to keep in mind with this game, among the many little oddball decisions, we haven't talked nearly enough. Once the games end, if people survive without devastating injury, like what are these head coaches doing? Why was Tom Brady in the game at that point late in the fourth? This keeps happening, and no one's paid a price yet, as far as I can tell.
Well, Brady, it's been years passing on 4th down, up 17 in the fourth.
What the hell? I understand I understand the math on how a rally can kind of come together, but if there's a point where you got to get these guys out of here, you have a game next week.
Dave, he's a competitor, and he likes to be in control, and that's Tom Brady for you.
Oh,
he's
that's
not going to
right.
be any different. Yeah.
He makes everybody around him better, from what I hear. But yeah, I do wonder if McVay's smart enough to be like, our advantage right now going into Tampa is they're banged up. Let's make sure we aren't too.
Yeah, right.
Dave, I do think that there is something with guys like Brady and LeBron and the guys who are really close to these cumulative numbers already have the top numbers. Like, I'm going to keep on adding to my number as much as I can. Like,
yes,
postseason touchdowns, postseason yards, all of that. Whether they happen in the first or fourth, they still count.
We could stay on for a couple more minutes. Because about to kick off, I just want to get our plays in for you guys. Sheck likes the Cards minus 122 in the second half. That should be okay. You like Connor to score. I like Murray to score at plus 330. And you like Cam Akers, Martin, plus 280. You like anything else? Second half?
I like nothing from
that. Should be enough. I know. It just all sucks.
I like the Penguins on the money line in Vegas against the Golden Knights. That's a good bet. Ooh,
is that tonight?
Big time shootout coming up in Sin City. Two high-end teams.
Did it kick? Did it? At a 7:07 start.
Poop! The puck is dropped. I'm sorry.
Just right. It's all right. You live bet on FanDuel. No. You live bet all this. I am saying, check to your point now. Jimmy G has a sprained shoulder, a slight sprain. Yeah, there was no way of getting around the winner of this game. They had to put this game on a Monday because it's a 4-5, so they know where to slot it next week. The winner of this game, if the seeds held up, was going to Green Bay. Otherwise, it's San Francisco, and it had to be Saturday because you can't have the Monday winner play Saturday. So it does stink for the 49ers, who are now like a 6-point underdog. Now have to go Saturday with a banged-up Jimmy G and Bosa, who's
and Fred Warner. I mean, feel like don't you kind of feel like if two of those three are out, that's the end of the Niners season up in Lambeau?
I like Green Bay anyway. I can't believe it's 4.5. I guess 6. I was like, this is a team that's making everybody money all year. If I had to pick one of the 4, we'll give our picks on Friday. We'll talk more about it Wednesday. But one that I'm almost definitely not changing is Packers minus 4.5. I don't really care what's going on with those 3 guys we mentioned. Martin, anything stick out as something you wouldn't change right now in the 4 games?
There's somebody just left a comment on the YouTube, said, did Carson Wentz shrink by 1 foot and play tonight? Hilarious. The one thing I'm not changing is my opinion on the Cincinnati Bengals. I'm riding with that team.
You like them. Don't let TJ bully you though. If you like the other side, you can go with it.
No, I convinced TJ back in week 4 that this Bengals team might be something. And
I love that argument. I love this argument back and forth on Lemon Pepper Parlay. You hear TJ and Martin say who's responsible for the Bengals pick and success here. Yeah, Bengals getting 3.5. That's a tough one. I don't know. We'll discuss it. I just seems to be a foregone conclusion that Derrick Henry could take hits because he's jogging in practice and looks good on a clandestinely recorded video. Like, I don't know. Not so fast. Maybe the Bengals good. What about you, Sheck? Any of the 4 games. I would think the Rams get about 3.5, 4 from Tampa.
I mean, obviously, this is as good a divisional round game as we've seen in recent memory. That'll be going down in Arrowhead there. These guys have banged heads a few times now. It's hard to make a pick on that one. I lean Chiefs. And I'm with Marty Weiss, man. Joe Burrow, the phrase, he doesn't blink and everything, it just keeps getting used. But man, he just there's no such thing as a situation that's too big for him. But it's kind of just, so far it's true. I mean, I called it on -3, the poop the bed potential is feels like Josh Allen's more prone to throw 3 or 4 picks if things get sideways. I can't imagine how things would get off the rails for Joe Burrow.
I don't think.
He just keeps coming back shooting every. It
would be that offensive line that hasn't protected him all year, but did a good job on Saturday. But that's what would be his undoing. That's
against this team, against the
not him
Titans
specifically.
For sure.
Yeah,
right.
So that's it. All right, Martin, we done? I guess we'll be on Wednesday. That's good enough, right? All right, let's enjoy the second half. Damn it, we